Hello, everyone. We'll start our last day of intense conference. I don't know about you. We are mentally exhausted, but it's been a very constructive conference so far, and we hope to continue that today. I'll just start by going over the schedule for today and then on to some specific takeaways we've had so far. The first part of the day will be spent in accelerate study planning and coordination. We have the centers that we'll be working with there, but we welcome everyone to listen and in the future hope to expand. The next we'll discuss the retrospective natural history study planning, and the participants have been listed here. They're really the same for both. And with that, we'll kind of shift focus to how to do this for refractory SJIA. I think we have a plan, kind of a plan for MAS. And then break. And then after the break will be our session on lung disease and SJIA and what's new with it. And we'll start off with a talk about lung ultrasound by Patricia Vega from Cincinnati Children's, and then move on to Peter Negrovic and Bryce Binstad about cytokine plasticity hypotheses. And in the end, we'll have a patient panel so that you can hear from the patients what their experiences are being. We've done these kind of sessions several times where we have the patients describe and doctors get a chance to ask questions. So we'll do that. And finally, we'll have the final working session and some of the threads of the conference. We'll try to wrap up next steps, and how we'll continue the momentum we gained. With that, I think I was thinking about yesterday, we were discussing as a patient group and kind of like just our take a little bit. And Candice, I do ask you to enable the chat. I think chat is an essential part for our conference. I think the general take is we did get across our perspective and we feel good about that. And, we got across what the trends we noticed. I think we are also happy that there seems to be general agreement that everyone has seen cases of arthritis and, great data was presented. The two groups are comparable. So maybe it's the same, it seems like the same disease. So we'd really like to have momentum with that and put that issue to bed so that we don't need to constantly come back to that. Hopefully this is the last next gen where we focus on that. Similarly about, I think, adult versus pediatric disease, which Fabrizio was pointing out. I think we got good feedback about MAS trials, and I think we can plan the next stages with that. I think the people involved with that would say so in my conversations with them. I think IL-18 is an interesting biomarker, but given that ours is a non-genetic disease, it seemed like from what we heard from the FDA that right now it does not directly help us with trials. Maybe we can, that's kind of what we heard, I think, from the FDA. And with that, so far it's good. I come to what's hard. I think that honestly, trials in refractory SJIA kind of feel like it's tough. It's an uphill battle. And there's some ideas, but I think the outcome measure is a complex thing. How do we reduction of steroids is not won't be acceptable. It sounds like it's really important to get this feedback ahead of time. By the way, we really I think rather than plan this for a year and then find out. External controls are something we look into, but it might be challenging. Trial design, it's tempting to move away from placebo control for such complex diseases, but honestly, it really leads to downstream problems. So that's kind of, I think my takeaways and from what I heard from parents. I'm actually going to give a quick chance to any parents who want to give their quick takeaways. I can't see everyone, so I don't know. Ronnie, you had some things to say yesterday.
Good morning. Yeah, I just wanted to understand from everyone from these challenges that you mentioned on the previous slide, what are the obstacles to achieving them? What are the necessary actions for them to be completed? What is necessary to put those to bed? without us just saying we're putting them to bed now? Does someone need to take it one step further and, write it down and sign it and send it somewhere? What are the actionable items? And if there are needs to achieve those actionable items, what are they? And maybe we can help.
Okay. Yeah, I think we should come up with a real plan, and I think the working group at the end, we can have like a concrete action. But if any of the doctors want to answer, please, welcome.
I think I agree with you, Rashmi. I think we have to come up with a work plan. None of them looks not doable. If you go again to your subsequent slide,
Yeah,
please, none of them looks, not doable. Trial design is challenging. Yes, I think we have to get away from placebo-controlled trial, but there is an issue, and the issue can be solved by external control. But there is an issue in external control, matching, and I think we can tackle that by making it wide and then selecting the patients.
yeah.
And outcome measures, I think we'll come up with a plan.
Okay. So I wanted to do something, kind of take advantage of my, I want to do a quick poll and try to, as you're saying, in trying to put this issue to bed, and let's just collaboratively write this out. How would we want to do a poll about the arthritis piece, that something like, and put it to a poll. We recognize there are SJIA cases without arthritis, and disease criteria need to recognize that, and disease criteria should be updated to reflect that. Does that seem like a reasonable statement? And anybody is welcome to give feedback. We want to put this to poll.
Chat option is not working for some of us.
Oh, okay.
It does work. Randy did vote, and it worked for me.
She's putting everyone as co-host, so everyone will be able to get into the chat. Okay, just was a problem before the session started, so she's putting everyone, and everyone should be able to do chatting in kind of 1 or 2 minutes.
Can I have some feedback about this? Anyone is welcome to speak up. Are the same disease with different ages of onset? Do these
Rashmi, it might be better to ask the inverse if anyone disagrees, because I think sounds like the majority is on board.
So, and we should do this poll separately for, rheumatologists versus everyone else, because I think that that was what one of the requests, yeah, that we should do this twice, once for the rheumatologists and once for everyone else.
I wonder if if it should say disease criteria should be updated. Is that what we're actually going for? Or are we talking about criteria for the study? What would it take to change?
We're talking about the disease criteria need to be updated. Yeah, I mean,
okay.
Is that a statement we can make? I don't know. I mean, I kind of want to put this issue to bed in from our perspective, that move on. It's you know, okay. Does that seem but I don't know how to do this. You all are the experts here. Like, will this carry any weight? I don't know, but let's do it.
Can I make a suggestion? I think disease criteria is vague enough that can be applied to clinical trial inclusion criteria and to classification diagnostic criteria. And I will keep it vague, because if we write classification diagnostic criteria, then any regulatory agency could say, well, wait for the properly developed classification criteria, and this will take 2 years.
Yeah, Candice, wait a minute for actually doing the poll. Let's actually wait a minute for the poll. Are we okay with these sentences? Should I put them to poll? Have Candice do them each sentence twice, once for the pediatric rheumatologist, once for everybody else, or once for the rheumatologist and once for everybody else? Does that seem reasonable? Any changes in the second statement?
Well, I'm just wondering if Mrs. Yuki, we should actually change the statement before we vote on it, because then we're going to vote on it again. You know what I mean? I think I agree with making it less like.
Can we close the poll right
task
now, by the way?
updating.
Yeah, please tell me. Yeah, sorry.
Of having to update the criteria before we can use them. So, I mean, just the recognition that there are patients with SJIA who do not have arthritis, and they should be allowed to participate in clinical trials of SJIA. I think that, is that simple enough? Fabrizio, does that reflect what you said?
What do you think?
No, I think
And they should be allowed to, they should participate in clinical trials, and disease criteria should be updated. I feel like if we say that we recognize there are SJIA cases without arthritis, that by itself implicitly kind of says that, you know, you can act on it, and then we need to update the criteria as a plan.
so. If we agree on the statement you wrote before, we can state in the text that this implies that these patients should be allowed in clinical trials. I mean, there are going to be proceedings of this conference, one way or the other, okay? So I'd rather make a blunt statement, not specifically aimed at clinical trials, and then comment on the statement saying this implies that.
Okay, can you just tell me exactly what to, I was just trying to read the comment.
As it was, I think as it was before, it was fine. But this is my vote.
I
I don't know,
prefer
you
it simple. I prefer it simple
Me too.
from that perspective. Just keep
Me
it
too.
really simple. People can, like, you know, I think given the fact that we had FDA there, I think we feel comfortable in starting to act on it.
And we can act on it in two different ways. One is you can, if we ever do a registry of, which we will, when we do a registry and if we do an investigator-initiated trial in these patients, we can use this statement to inform the inclusion criteria. If we go to the regulatory with the company, or if a company goes to the regulatory, they can, you know, they can again inform their inclusion criteria based on this statement.
But there is a good point to it. I mean, actually, we want to impact companies who go and do this again and again often without any of us being in the room. Yeah, like this happens without us being in the room, and they just take the latest SJIA criteria and just use that. So maybe adding that helps. I want the doctors to all speak up, because I'm not an expert here at all, and I don't know how to impact the field.
I think Randy had an interesting suggestion. Randy, could you?
Yeah, I just put it in the chat that just put it together in one statement that what we now call SJA, we should rename still disease and not require arthritis for diagnosis with no age limit.
Yeah, I think naming is a different issue, and a lot of people don't want to rename till the time they know the biology, which is
But
why
that way it lets you get across the age barrier, and there are still disease that does not require arthritis. I think it helps you actually.
Yeah, but we might lose some people who want it to be a biological name. I know, like, for example, I believe Peter Nigrovic always mentions the naming issue. So let's
I
not.
think Peter'd be fine with still disease. I don't think that's gonna destroy this, but.
Well, do you want to get rid of the term renaming and just say systemic GIA should be included in the Still's disease terminology?
Is the same. We recognize that SJIA and Still's disease are the same. And I think what was Randy's, I mean, I like your statement because it's very simple, and should not require, is the same as Still's and should not require.
And can occur at any age.
No, I can't copy from there. I'll have to type this in. Okay, then we'll put this to poll. Okay. Is this good?
Can I propose a minor change that SJIA and adult onset still's disease are the same disease? Because here you mention so you don't get into naming the thing, huh?
Yeah, but then the sentence and should not require, I mean.
Both
still
of them
somebody
should
does
not require
require.
trials and should not require trials. Both of them should not require trials.
Is this clear? Is the sentence clear?
Yes, I think this is much better. Yeah.
Okay.
Really,
can-
the only other thing I would add is these possessive names of physicians that we're trying to get away from in medicine.
I completely agree with you, but I feel like the arthritis aspect and the age aspect is more important. And every time I've tried to discuss that issue, it's like thorny issue. Like there's all
Well,
sorts
the journals will come at you for it. And it's just, in general, it's, you know, we don't call things Wagner's anymore or Reiter disease or whatever, but the possessive is inappropriate in my opinion.
Okay, Candice, can you take the statement as it, you know, and then run two polls, say for one, it is for the rheumatologist, and then the second one for everyone else. Phenotypes of the same disease?
No, I think the existing sentence is good.
Okay, okay, then let's do the polls. And I think we are almost ready to get to, I'll hand it over to, I think, Grant for, yeah. I'll stop sharing and I'll hand it to